Great, thanks. So yes, I lead the Link team. It's Crux's data cloud. We spend all of our time thinking about how we can deliver more value to publishers and marketers. Throughout this presentation, you're going to hear 4 recurring themes: data governance, control, transparency, and value creation for principals. These are really all the pillars of Link. For most of my career, I've either worked for publishers in revenue-driving roles or for technology companies that deliver value and revenue back to publishers. What attracted me to Krux over 3 years ago is the fact that Krux has the ability to unlock an underutilized asset, which is publisher data, and deliver real value back to publishers. We should all care about publishers' success. We actually spend more time consuming media, whether it's social connections through media, if it's entertainment, consuming news. We spend more time doing that than we do sleeping or working. Publishers are really, really important, but their business models are completely under attack. The way I think that publishers can survive and thrive is through data. You see desktop ad inventory shrinking, monetization on mobile lags behind desktop, and we're seeing even some of the biggest publicly traded media companies see their digital revenue decline. That's a pretty scary trend. I really believe data is the key to increasing engagement, driving more traffic, and improving monetization for these publishers. Publishers matter, and publishers' data really matters. If publishers fail, it's bad for all of us. It's bad for marketers who are looking to reach consumers, and it's also just bad for us as citizens. I'm really excited to talk to you about Link. It's really the first peer-to-peer connections platform in the market. We deliver tremendous value and solve some really, really gnarly problems for publishers and marketers. They've always struggled to transact data, find common ground, and I believe we have a product that really has solved some major problems for both. Sorry, this is just off a little bit. Here we go. Yeah, marketers figured out about 5 years ago that finding the right audience and messaging them at the right time with a very specific message was the right way to grow their businesses and grow revenue. That's why programmatic really took off. And the walled gardens have actually done, not surprisingly well, but they've done incredibly well during this time as audience data has become more and more important. As you look at Facebook and Google, they have more people data than anybody else. And they also have programmatic technology, making it really easy and efficient to reach the right people with the right message at the right time. And this has left publishers in a position where collectively, everybody else besides Facebook and Google, they're now earning under 15% of every new digital advertising dollar. This is a significant threat to publishers' businesses. And also, the walled gardens don't give the transparency and feedback to marketers that they need. You absolutely don't get any sort of actionable data back. Maybe you'll get some aggregated campaign results, but you're not going to get actionable segment level detail back from the walled gardens. And this is a real opportunity for publishers. If publishers are more open to sharing their data and sharing results and being flexible, they're absolutely going to win a bigger piece of that pie, and it doesn't have to be the walled gardens, whether it be Google, Facebook, or many of the other walled gardens with their various height walls winning. It absolutely can be the premium publishers in this room. So let's talk about programmatic for a minute. It's not just the walled gardens that are a problem. There's actually a much bigger issue going on with programmatic, and that's around value. And value that's being extracted by people that actually don't add value. So in this example, you see a $5 CPM paid by a marketer for an ad impression. And there are so many different unnamed players here in the middle. I'd be happy to name them over a beer sometime, who are taking a lot of value out of the middle. And the $5 CPM from a marketer ends up being $1.25 to the publisher. I actually think we're being kind here. It's actually often quite worse. So 75% of the market spend in programmatic from a marketer can go absolutely nowhere. And to be clear, there are players in the middle that add value, and they'll survive and thrive, and they absolutely have a place, but the vast majority absolutely don't. So one of the things that we're trying to accomplish with Link is to collapse the market and deliver a lot more value back to the principals and quickly squeeze out everybody here who's in the middle and not adding value. And then, programmatic and advertising are only part of the equation. Marketers also need people data to do things like recommend the right content to site visitors, to personalize and manage messages at scale, like leverage dynamic widgets throughout the customer journey, and activate relevant email and social campaigns. Publishers need to monetize their sites, and programmatic selling combined with data absolutely allows them to do that. People data really is the currency of the future, but governance is absolutely required for data monetization. Let's look at why. So nearly every marketer today is investing more and more in their data assets. Certainly first party, which has proven to be quite successful for marketers, and increasingly in second party. As you think about marketers buying third-party data, there's a real lack of transparency there. Let's just take, for example, an auto intender segment. Some of the ones on the market today, the publicly available third-party ones, will have 50 or 60 or even 70 million unique users in them, yet 15 million cars are sold in the US every year. Clearly, those aren't really all auto intenders, and marketers are really tired of not having visibility into where the data came from, which rules were used to create those segments, and that lack of transparency has led to distrust. To be clear, there is third-party data out there that's quite valuable. Really, really great third-party data that comes from known sources, it's well lit, but that's the exception, and marketers don't know which third-party data to trust. This is a fantastic opportunity for publishers. And through Link, what we're doing is publishers are actually exposing audience segments to trusted buyers on the terms and conditions of the publisher's choosing. The price is set by the publisher, but they're giving that level of transparency back to the marketer, and the marketer is able to decide what is the value they're willing to place on that audience segment, and we're seeing these peer-to-peer connections really take off between buyers and sellers. And if you're not in the game, you really should get into it. The ROI on second-party data for marketers is through the roof. Performance is tremendous, and it comes down to that quality. We absolutely put our stamp of approval on every segment that's sold through Link. And for publishers, data governance, as I've already mentioned, is incredibly important, and that's built into the core of Link. We've built out fantastic technology that protects your data, and for the first time actually makes it safe to sell your data, and you have visibility into that data use beyond your four walls. Now is absolutely the time to be refining your data strategy. And then, there's another problem that we've solved here with Link. Have you ever noticed that everything's a platform? Every vendor, a marketer, or publisher talks to, you'll hear there's a fully integrated stack, everything's connected, we have integrations with everybody in the ecosystem, it's really easy to transport data. Well, we know that's a lie. It is never true, it's never easy. Those connections are never as solid as they seem. And with Link, we actually have built out really deep integrations integrations, backed by software-enabled data governance. We have really deep protection in place, very unique deals and technical infrastructure to make the transport of data very safe and secure, and we're really doing it. Link is that connective tissue between marketers and publishers, and we're creating efficiencies for everyone involved. As for the marketers in the room, nobody knows your consumers like you do. Nobody knows, better when you should message them, what message you should deliver to them. But the needs that you have around data and how to message to consumers, that does not necessarily fit neatly into prepackaged third-party data boxes. You just can't go out and get those exact segments you need to activate against your consumers, the ones that you know and you know how to message to. Imagine if you could actually create the segments that you're looking for using somebody else's data. To be clear, what I mean by that is it's not generally available every publisher's data to be able to do that, but when you have a peer-to-peer connection with somebody, you can actually create the segments that you want. We have a feature within Link that allows you to request segments. So if there's a very particular segment that you're looking for, you can create that request, and we match you with the publishers that actually have the segments that meet your needs, or they're willing to build it for you. That is just unheard of power, and it makes data that much more actionable and scalable for the marketer. What if publishers had real control? So, with third-party data, if you're selling to third-party data providers as a publisher, you don't have any control over how that data is used. You don't control the pricing, you don't control who buys it, you don't control what that buyer knows, period, about that data. We actually put all of the control in the hands of data owners, so you can have things like block lists. You can set the pricing. If you have a direct deal with, say, an auto manufacturer, and you don't want that auto manufacturer to have visibility into the price of that segment for other buyers, great. You absolutely have that control. And when you have that control, it allows you to not worry so much about things like cannibalization. Right now, let's say you are monetizing 5% of your audience segments to your direct advertisers. What if you're able to increase that to 10% or 15% to advertisers you don't work with? You absolutely open up tremendous revenue streams, and you finally have the control to be able to justify doing so. And one final point is, the ROI, as I mentioned before, on second-party data is so fantastic that you actually can generate real price premiums. What we're finding is publishers are starting with relatively modest price points on some of their less valuable audience segments, and as they prove performance to marketers, we're actually seeing those prices increase. The biggest question I get from publishers is, how much should I be charging for my data? Well, we're actually able to give you, through the Link Index, exactly what prices other people are paying or selling those segments for, so you can make really informed decisions with your data. So how do we make these strategies real? How do we move beyond the promises? You've already heard Tom and Vivek talk about the Intelligent Marketing Hub. A core pillar of our Intelligent Marketing Hub is Link. To address the data owner's concern for complete control and the data buyer's need for transparency, the whole data transaction must be executed with software-enabled data governance. You're going to hear that theme a lot. And it's just an overarching theme to Krux in general. Software-enabled data governance is at the core of everything we do. And if you're one of those buyers who isn't comfortable sending your data to another party, we can actually execute everything within Krux's four walls, including media. So while Link is very much it's 100% a data-focused product, we did find that there were marketers who wanted to execute bring your own data deals. They wanted to show up with their own data, target their specific users, and in some cases use publisher data to actually target those users as well. And when you have two parties that might not trust each other to send data, the fact that we can issue an ad tag to a publisher and serve that ad using data from both a marketer and publisher, but nobody has to send the data anywhere, is really powerful in helping increase liquidity in this market. I'll come back to our model in a minute, but it's really important to note we're agnostic, whether you're using data alone, data plus media, it's all the same fee structure. We really just see media as a means to an end in data transactions. Also, it's really important to note that publishers already have Krux infrastructure in place on their page. So tying back to the Intelligent Marketing Hub, there are so many other applications that can be launched through Link. There's ad blocking, for example. We have a header bidding framework. You could deploy surveys. There are many, many different use cases that you can execute just using the infrastructure you already have deployed on your pages. So what are the benefits of our approach? For marketers, it's really about insights. We're able to provide tremendous benchmarking and visibility that you're never able to get anywhere else. It's really, really deep analytics, and Link was built on analytics and data science. It's one of the core differentiators with Link, and we help make marketers smarter. As you're deciding what to buy, what works, and what prices to pay, we're absolutely the right resource for you. We can also help you make strategic partnering decisions. Built into the platform, we have things like overlap analyses. You're able to see on an opt-in basis for publishers where your audience overlaps. You can find where the fishing is good. We can give you exact